corn for like cattle feed or something like that, or what kind of?
Yeah, corn and soybeans are the number one product, and they have seed corn is taking hold because we have such a rich groundwater source here that they can do irrigation and create a good seed corn crop, and that seed corn then goes to the seed distributors to plant in the following years throughout the whole United States. So, yeah, it's the big seed companies coming in and contracting farmers,
okay.
And
so they're not like big farmers themselves, but they're contracted by these larger industries.
And those contracts require them to have irrigated fields and maintain a certain quality.
So when a tribe comes in and they're like, hey, you might want to consider doing this buffer zone to, I don't know, protect this turtle or something, they're not.
We haven't done that directly as a tribe. It's just,
okay.
It's just more of the expressing our feelings in the watershed groups. And then, so the partners in that, in the state of Michigan and Indiana is Natural Resource, NRCS, Natural Resource, I forget it right now. But we do our own work with NRCS. And so NRCS within the USDA works with farmers to implement BMPs and provide a cost share. And the way it usually works is they have a whole list of practices you can put in and what they'll reimburse you for. So you have to, as the landowner, have to implement those practices, and once that's documented, then they'll reimburse you for that much. So it's not, you don't get the money up front. You have to put your own money in, implement those practices, and they get reimbursed. So
right, and because doesn't the tribe lease out some farmland? Or?
All our farmlands are leased out.
Okay.
Right now we're switching to organic, and so it's leased out, but we're actually paying the farmers to switch to organic.
Cool.
So we do that for 3 years, and then the following 3 years, they'll pay us a leasing fee. We haven't quite negotiated that price yet.
Okay.
Because what they receive from organic crops is a higher number than what they would normally receive from other crops. Because organic people are paying more for organic right now.
Yeah, makes sense. So these farms aren't those like seed farms? They're actually growing produce?
Not the ones we do, no. Okay. The ones we lease, the ones we lease are just farmers. They've been raising corn and soybeans in rotation. And I don't think it's seed corn. I think it's still corn and soybeans, but who they're selling it to, the tribe doesn't get involved in that kind of stuff. It's just, they pay us so much to farm the land, and then what they do with the product is up to them to figure out.
Do you know what farms they are? Like what their names are? I feel like an FBI.
What the farmers are?
Not their like family names, but I mean like if they have a farm name, like like if I wanted to go.
No, it's just farmer names.
Oh, okay.
I could tell you, but
yeah.
That'd be better for Jennifer knows those.
Oh, okay.
I don't know them all right offhand. So.
Okay. All right. So going back to the outreach aspect of what you'd like to do in the future, you mentioned something about children's books related to either water or climate change, published by or funded by Nestle or something.
Yeah, they're right over here.
Well, first, actually, I only have like an anecdotal understanding of what Nestle has done in this area. Can you kind of go over in more detail?
And it's just not in this area. So, yeah.
Everywhere.
We've been asked this year to do, by the state of Michigan, to consult with them about Nestle's. They applied for a permit to increase a well they have up north to over 400 gallons per day.
Up north where? Like UP or?
No, it's in the, I can't think of the name of the town, but it's along the Muskegon River.
Okay.
So it's kind of in the middle of the upper lower peninsula.
Gotcha.
And so in order to get the Michigan passed a law that if it exceeds a certain amount, then they have to get this new permit that they requested. And so me and Kyle did a review of those documents and gone to several meetings. And it's been our determination that the balance is not there in terms of the recharge for the area versus what they're taking out is out of balance. They're taking more out than what is being replenished over time. And in doing so, they also probably are stealing some water from a neighboring watershed, Twin Creek. And this is on Chippewa Creek. They're probably taking the water away from Twin Creek, which holds a brook trout population. And so, the state of Michigan's water laws says, there's water rights, and if you're taking water from other landowners and for your own self, then that could be a grievance. And so,
yeah, I bet.
So the state of Michigan is reviewing that permit process right now. Now, the other odd thing about this is, so Nestle only way to pay is a $200 permit to pump water out of the natural resource out of the ground.
Okay.
And
why is it so cheap?
That's just state laws right now.
Oh.
There is no state doesn't really put any price on water in the state of Michigan. And given the laws in Michigan too, that water, if it's under a certain container size, can be shipped out of the Great Lakes watershed. So you're taking the water out of the watershed and moving it to somewhere else. You're not getting a very good return for the citizens of Michigan. Mm-hmm. It'd be easier for us to give you, since it's been a while since I've looked at a report, but you can see our comment letter. Mm-hmm. It makes sense. It's just, when you see what went on in Flint and what they're paying for water there, and then this company comes in and gets millions of gallons of water for such a low price, and they're making like $800 million a year off of this.
To sell bottled water back to the people that they stole water from, almost. I mean, that's a little bit.
It's just traditional value. I think would say, well, first you can't really make profit off of water because it's a sacred thing to tribal citizens, but there's not really a give back. If you're going to do that, then you should at least also give back in some way.
Yeah.
And so Nestle needs to look at more giving back. And in Canada, Nestle has been banned in Canada by the First Nations up there. And
nice. So not by like the country as a whole, just like
the country as a whole has a moratorium right now. But I think we just got off another phone call with that Great Lakes Executive Committee, where it sounded like Nestle or elected officials, they call it the settler governments, may change their views on Nestle a little bit up there, but that's them negotiating a better price and things like that. So
okay,
they've had issues in California too. I think California has banned them as well.
Do you so they're up here? Do you think like it's because the laws in Michigan make this area more attractive because they're lenient?
Definitely, okay. That's what it is right now.
Lenient law and cheap.
Definitely cheap. I mean, their profit margins are pretty great. And that's so they're making $800 million. I think we estimated like maybe $20 million is going back towards salaries and things like that. But they're also their main headquarters is in Switzerland. So
it's not like any of that profit's being funneled back to the community.
Yeah.
Even if it was, that would still be problematic.
The local community has received, like they got a new baseball field and they got some things like that. But they are getting, they're starting to wake up and say this is not a good deal kind of thing. So.
Very interesting. And so what have they done in terms of like PR? You mentioned like children's books or something, or
that was for California.
Oh, California. Is it these little blue ones here?
Yeah, there's a whole pile of them.
All of these here?
Yeah. The smaller ones.
All the way to the ocean.
I think the smaller ones.
Oh.
That might be one too. I don't know if it's back there.
So these paper ones down here?
Yeah.